Now that you've seen a short video briefly introducing some of our services, I'm going to go ahead and go through them in a slightly more detail. And of course, we'll continue revisiting things like this in more and more detail as we go. Right. So in this chapter, we're going to hopefully introduce you to each of our services, and your responsibilities ultimately will include achieving familiarity with our service offerings, gaining knowledge of the unique conversations related to each, being able to explain the processes to the customer with competency, and know the amount of time associated with each service and the best time of day to schedule them. So all of them will require kind of specific knowledge in order to make sure it's being scheduled right. Information is getting to the technicians correctly, the customers are getting the right conversations, all of those things. So here's again a brief overview of most of our service offerings. The main one we do is carpet cleaning, so that's where we're going to start. So obviously we do most of our volume in carpet cleaning. At the time that this was put together, about 70%, although I think it's probably slightly less than that now, with a higher percentage being upholstery than it once was. So at this juncture, our focus is going to be on understanding the processes that the technicians will use in the field so we can explain it thoroughly and answer all questions. For example, what you see both of these technicians using, this machine is called a Rotovac or a Rotovac 360i. We'll usually just call it the Roto or the Rotovac. And it has a rotating brush head on the bottom of it, so it does leave this nice pattern of swirls. That, of course, goes away as it's trafficked or if somebody vacuums once it's dry post-service. But that machine is injecting the hot water into the carpet while extracting it at the same time. And then that rotating brush head is scrubbing the carpet as we do that to add some agitation. We also offer area rug cleaning. For area rugs, we offer both on-site and off-site cleaning. On-site cleaning is well suited for lightly soiled synthetic rugs and provides a topical cleaning. Off-site cleaning is well suited for heavily soiled rugs, pet-related concerns, high-end rugs, natural fiber rugs like wool or cotton, silk viscose blends rather than polyester, polypropylene, things like that. We'll look again many times over at how to evaluate rugs, how to get that information from customers, and how to position both the on-site cleaning and the off-site cleaning. The off-site, the turnaround time, let's see, what I've got here is it's picked up from the customer's home, fully submerged in cleaning solution. It can be treated repeatedly, and we can utilize different strategies that we can't on-site, and then we deliver it back to them. The time from pickup to return, our turnaround time is out 4 to 5 weeks. Sometimes we're able to get it out sooner. And we do have options for customers if they need it back sooner. For instance, we can do a rush fee to get them an area rug in 2 weeks. We also offer upholstery cleaning. Steam cleaning can extract dirt and soiling from upholstery while killing germs, bacteria, and pathogens, leaving items fresh, clean, and deodorized. Some items are dry clean only, so it's important to check the tags before beginning the clean. For us on the dispatch side, that often means asking customers while we're still on the phone with them, have you ever had this item steam cleaned before? If they have, great. Easy, it should be fine. And if they haven't, then we try to get them to send us some photos of the tags or labels that they see on the item so we can evaluate based on that. In particular, if removing that item is going to be difficult on site, maybe it puts them below the service minimum, so it's going to cost them more money without them being able to get it done. Things like that can make it more critical that we're evaluating the items as best as possible to confirm they're compatible with steam cleaning or having the right conversations up front. Filtration stain removal. Filtration stains appear over time as the carpet acts as a filter, catching dirt and oil from the air as it passes under the baseboards. They can be a very stubborn stain, so we have a tried and tested method for cleaning them. So we do always clean up to the edges of carpets, but when there are filtration stains specifically, this can be a kind of stain that even though we can use our normal cleaning method all the way up to the edge, the filtration stains are really stubborn, which is why we price them separately and we treat them a little bit differently. We'll usually let people know that it's priced within a range and that the technicians will price it on site after doing a test. So they'll test a couple linear feet. That way the customer can see the result and we can see how much effort is going to go into the removal or, partial removal. Sometimes it will only lift 80% or who knows. So anyways, the customer is able to see the result. We're able to see how much work will go into it, and we can give them a price on site. Tile cleaning. Just like your carpets, tile and grout should be regularly cleaned and sealed by a professional to prevent permanent stains. So for tile and grout cleaning, we have a couple different tools that might be used, especially if it's larger areas rather than just a small hall bathroom. Maybe sometimes we're doing an entryway and a kitchen and a living room that are all tile. So the technicians may utilize different tools depending on that. The seal is often something that we're having conversations about because I would say a lot of customers don't have a lot of knowledge on the differences between words like caulk versus seal versus grout versus, the difference between what a color seal is or grout paint versus what we do, which is a true seal. These are conversations that are kind of niche, and we will continue to have them, but we do offer a seal. Essentially, all it does is create a lightly hydrophobic barrier around the grout and tile, which makes it slightly less, or it's slightly more stain resistant. It is designed to be removed. It does not last forever. It essentially goes away after, 6 months to a year of clean, regular use, especially of a shower, which is why it's recommended to be done every 6 months or so. Carpet stretching. Over time, due to poor installations, wrinkles can develop in carpeting due to improper tension. Using a power stretcher, we're able to resolve those wrinkles with such confidence in almost all situations. We guarantee our stretches for the life of the carpet. So you can see here, there's a wrinkle that's showing in the middle of the room. And after stretching, the carpet is flat. There's a lot of conversations that go into stretching and how we communicate with customers. For instance, looking at a wrinkle like this, I would normally anticipate there's going to be creasing visible after service. So just take a piece of paper when it's folded in half, and then it could be laid flat again, but you could still see where that crease is. That can be true for stretching as well, and is something we like to warn customers about. And there's a lot of other conversations. That's just an example of one of them. Carpet repair. Carpet repairs come in all shapes and sizes. There is a small, medium, and large repair options available through the online booking. Repairs often stem from damage done by cats and dogs, and there are a few different approaches that can be taken. So the repair pricing, much like the stress pricing, it's usually done in a range. Whereas we might give them a specific price, like it's $55 to clean a standard room. For many of these services that can vary on site based on how much time it may take, we may give them a range instead. So if somebody, for instance, booked online, we would want to get some eyes on what this repair is going to look like. We would need a lot of information, like, do you have spare carpet? Are you renting or do you own? Different information like that can change the conversation we're having with the customer. Ozone rental. Sometimes customers need help addressing a strong, stubborn odor, particularly smoke, curry, or pet odors. In these cases, we provide an ozone machine to run in their home for 24 to 48 hours to eliminate that smell. The ozone machine produces O3, which readily releases an oxygen molecule. That spare molecule binds to whatever gases are in the air that are the source of the odor and carries them away. So this is used frequently in the used car industry, typically to get smoke smell away. So smoke smell is coming from carbon. If there's extra oxygen molecules in the air, it'll bind to that. You'll end up with CO2, which is what we know and love and exhale, and it's able to dissipate. So these machines are really powerful odor eliminators. They're really designed to be used when no one is in the home. So for instance, a rental unit that's between tenants. However, there's cases where we can use it. It just varies, and we need to have the right conversations because it can be considered a mild respiratory irritant. Water extractions. When leaks happen, they can soak the carpet and subfloor. Water extractions require 2 visits. The first to extract the water and remove the affected padding. We leave fans on the area to dry it completely and then come back after 1 to 3 days. The second visit, we replace the padding, we stretch the carpet back into place, and then we clean the area with an enzymatic treatment to sanitize it. So these can be done in different ways. That is the general pattern where there's 2 visits and those tasks are split between the 2 in order for it to dry as fast as possible to prevent mold and mildew from developing. However, sometimes we're in a commercial building and the carpet works a little bit different. There's no padding beneath it. It's glued to the subsurface, like it's glued to concrete. So that might be one visit. So there can be different scenarios here that you'll get exposed to as you learn. Pet remediation. Pet remediation is our highest level of pet treatment. It involves a combination of product usage and pulling back the carpet, removing soiled padding, and thoroughly cleaning both the back and top of the carpet. So what we do when we're steam cleaning, we're cleaning the topical part of the carpet. But when pets have accidents, it can saturate through to the backing, even the padding below. So depending on the kind of customer, it may be relevant to mention this on site. Often I will mention that there are higher levels of treatment that are available, especially if they mention they have cat or cat concerns. Or if they, it depends, but we'll get into the different kinds of communications where we'll bring up pet remediation or higher levels of enzymatic services. Green Safe. Many Resolve type spot cleaners that are sold over the counter are ineffective at removing stains and can actually set them permanently. We produce and sell our own spot treatment, which is non-toxic and it's effective. So this came about because many people would ask, hey, what should I use on my carpet between cleanings? And we didn't have a great answer for them. So Wes started making our own, something that would not set stains permanently and could be used by customers between cleanings. These can be customized, so it is relevant to know, hey, what are you going to be using this for? Is this going to be used on pet stains, or is there anything specific that you want this to be used for? That way we can design it on our side, kind of custom for them. And then what we typically do is we'll send people an invoice or we'll bill them for 2 bottles, no less than 2 bottles if we're delivering it. And then once they pay, we deliver it within about 48 hours. Or, they can always add this on to a job. If there's already a job booked, it's fine to sell just 1 bottle. The main thing is if I'm going to have to go to Raleigh to deliver 2 bottles for $50, that's really barely worth it. We're essentially doing that at cost just to have something in our customers' homes that remind them of us and get them by between cleanings. A GreenGuard protector. Unlike other companies, we use a natural product, which we call GreenGuard, to apply a protective barrier to carpeting. This is a green alternative to Scotchgard, which customers have likely heard of and may have questions regarding. GreenGuard reduces the rate of resoiling, extending the life of the cleaning we perform. Carpet protectant is largely a scam in the carpet cleaning industry, so it's important we illustrate to customers what makes our product different. So, like I said, a lot of people are familiar with Scotchgard. That's essentially a product that makes things waterproof. So it might be used on sneakers, tents, fire retardant equipment, patio upholstery, all sorts of things have used Scotchgard since the 50s. And in the last 20 to 30 years, it's really become very known that it's a forever chemical, that it's going to exist forever in water, in our blood, everywhere. So people are often familiar with it, depending on their age, is often the divider, whether they're familiar with it and love that product because they've seen how it works, or they're familiar with it and they hate that product because they are aware of its environmental impact. So what we use tries to capture some of the usability of it, but without the negative, impact. So essentially it creates a lightly hydrophobic barrier. It's not stain proof, it's not waterproof, but it does add a little bit of stain resistance and water resistance to the fibers. And then it makes a subsequent cleaning more effective because things will gather on top of that layer instead of soaking into the fiber itself. And then when you come and clean, it cleans up a little bit more readily. And that barrier comes up with it. So protector would need to be applied again on a future visit if they did want to keep that in place. Cool. The next video is going to go over some call basics.